Hello dear students, welcome you back for lecture number 5 on the topic System of Particles and Rotational Motion. So in the last class we were able to understand the concept of angular momentum and we were also able to understand how it is conserved. So in today's class we are going to study kinetic energy of a rotating body and also we are going to study work done by the torque. Okay, so we are just applying the analogy what we have studied in the straight line, same thing we are going to apply for the rotational motion. So all of you know what is kinetic energy. Basically energy is a capacity to do work. We have two kinds of energy, potential energy and kinetic energy. Now since we are talking about the motion, so energy possessed by the body is called as a kinetic energy. But what if that body is rotating about a fixed axis? Then that body will have rotational motion and rotational motion will give rise to a kinetic energy. So let us study what is the kinetic energy of the rotating body. So all of you know, if there is a body of mass m and if that body is moving in a straight line with certain velocity v, so its kinetic energy is given by half mv square. Is it not? Right? Now this is valid for linear motion. What if that same body is fixed to one particular axis and that body is rotating about that axis? Then that will have a rotational motion. So what is the kinetic energy of this rotating body? So you can apply that formula here. Kinetic energy will be what? Half. What is m? M is mass. So as I told you, mass is in linear terms. If it is in rotational motion, then mass we consider it as a moment of inertia. All of you remember I. I is mr square. Last class only we have studied this. And here v is velocity. Which velocity? A tangential velocity or linear velocity. Here we have to consider omega, which is angular velocity. So this is the expression for kinetic energy. So we will see how this derivation came. We are going to do a derivation for this equation. Got it? Now let us find what is the kinetic energy of a rotating body. All of you know it will be half I omega square. So let us see how it came. Suppose I have a body, any random body, and that body has pivoted to one fixed axis. Suppose this is that fixed axis. Okay, and about that fixed axis, x and x, and about this fixed axis, this body is rotating. Are you understanding? So I'll consider one small mass of this body. Okay, small mass, so dm. Okay, if I add dm, I'm going to get the total mass of the body m. Got it? So this is one entire body which is fixed about this axis, and I have considered one small point here, a small mass here. Are you understanding? Now, if I apply force to this body, definitely it is going to rotate. Yes or no? Now, suppose this, instead of writing dm, I'll write m1. So this body which is rotating about this axis will have velocity in this direction v1. Got it? Similarly, if I consider one more body, take this one more mass m2, so it will have velocity in this direction. Similarly, if I take m3 in this direction, got it? So what if I take kinetic energy of individual particles and if I add them, I'm going to get total energy. So what is kinetic energy of the first particle? It is half mv1 square. Kinetic energy of the second particle will be half m2 v2 square, and similarly if I take n number of particles, this will be half m n vn square. Are you understanding? Got it? So I am considering the small masses of this body, and I am just considering its individual velocity v1, v2, v3 and so on. Since it is a rotational motion, I had told you in very first class, the velocity of all the particles will be different, right? Since it is a rotational motion. In translational motion, the velocity and acceleration were same. So in this body, I am considering the small masses, and that all masses are rotating about this axis with different velocity. m1 is moving with v1, m2 is moving with v2, m3 is moving with v3, and so on. mn is moving with vn. mn is v. So this is kinetic energy. So what is total kinetic energy of this? This will be summation of half m mi vi square, where I is to 1 up to n. Are you understanding? Now students, listen here. We know that we can do one thing here. Kinetic energy can be written as, so before that we know that what is V is equal to, we can write R omega, can I write V equals to R omega? Just like in the last class we have done for moment of inertia, acceleration can be written as R into alpha. Got it? So that is the relation between a linear velocity and angular velocity. This you have studied in motion in plane topic, where you have studied circular motion concept. So I'll apply that. So total kinetic energy total, I'll first apply to this only, half m1, instead of here what is V, R omega. So instead of V1 shall I write R1 omega square plus 1 by 2 m2 R2 omega square plus so on up to half mn Rn, and here I'll write omega square. Now I had told you one thing very clearly whenever we were studying in the first class, that omega will remain same throughout for all the particles. No doubt the velocity v1, v2, v3 will change, but for a body rotating about any fixed axis, the angular velocity will be same. I had told you, like suppose there are two particles m1 and m2. m1 is moving with v1, m2 is moving with v2. But what happens with the angular velocity? If omega 1 goes 10 degree, so it is covering 10 degree in 1 second. So similarly this particle will also travel that much distance, 10 degree in 1 second. So always remember one thing, I had made this concept very clear in the first class. Omega, the angular velocity for rotating body will be same. Omega will not change for particle to particle, because omega is nothing but angular velocity, angular displacement divided by time taken. So here you see, observe very important thing, we know that V is equal to R omega. So instead of writing V1, shall I write R1 omega square? You might be wondering, sir, why you have not written R1 omega 1 square? The value of omega remains same for a body rotating about any fixed axis. So R, this is for first particle, this is for second particle, so on for third particle, and it goes up to n particle. So M1 R1 omega square, M2 R2 omega square, and so on. Yes or no? So in the general, can I write kinetic energy as half m1 r1 omega square, or I will write I and I, summation of this, sorry, this is square, no, r1 omega square, this is v square, sorry, so this will become square, r1 m omega square. All of you are understanding? Now look here, very important thing. This is for summation, this is for total kinetic energy, summation of this. Okay, now look here, half, what is m1 r1 or mi ri square, or just don't consider this I particle just to confuse you. What is this mr square? What it is indicating? mr square, is it not a moment of inertia? So instead of writing mr square directly, shall I write I, and this has omega square. So this is the expression for the kinetic energy for a rotating body. A very simple derivation, you can expect this derivation coming for the exam for 2 or 3 marks. Okay, along with the proper explanation. So just to revise the thing, I had taken a body of mass m. I have considered the small point of this body. Let mass be m1, m2 and m3. m1 is moving with v1, m2 is moving with v2, m3 is moving with v3. Since it is a rotating body, they will travel with different velocity. I had made it clear in the first class itself. So kinetic energy we know half mv square. So for first particle it will be m1 v1, for second particle m2 v2, and so on. So for total will be what? Summation of all this. So substitute v is equal to r omega. V is equal to r omega. Since it is v square, so it will become r square omega square, r2 square omega square, r3 omega square. So omega will remain same. Somewhere you can write, for an body rotating about any fixed axis, omega will remain, angular velocity will remain same. So at last you are going to get this, where mr square is nothing but I, where I is moment of inertia, and finally we get this kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square. Got it? Have you understood? Okay, so shall I erase? So now next concept we are going to study is work done by the torque. See, I am not teaching anything great here, okay? what I am just doing here is I am taking help of linear motion and I am trying to relate it with a rotational motion. As simple as that. So if you want to be perfect in system of particle topic, then it is quite understood that you have to be perfect in a linear motion and plane motion. Once you understand those things, these are nothing here. Just we are going to consider angular things. Got it? But one thing you are observing here is that this topic combines all the topics what you have studied so far. Okay, this is one topic where everything is included. Got it? So now we are going to study work done by the torque. Work done by the torque. Work done by the. Now all of you know what is work done. Work done is a dot product of force into displacement. So work done is F dot S cos theta. You have studied this concept in work per energy. So far we were dealing with motion in straight line and motion in plane. Now we are coming back to the work per energy topic. And also we have studied laws of motion also. So see how beautifully this topic combines all the topics. Got it? So work done by the torque. Suppose again, all of you should know what is first work done for linear motion. It is F dot S cos theta. It's a scalar quantity. It is a very good example of dot product where two vectors multiply giving you one scalar quantity. So work done is a scalar quantity measured in joules. Now we are going to study work done by the torque. This force is responsible for this work, which were a linear work. But now we are studying rotational motion topic, so work force will be not there, but instead what will be the torque? And torque, what work is done by the torque, that we are going to measure it. So we are going to find, and all of you know what is torque? It is R cross F. Now suppose there is one again a mixed random body. Okay, and suppose this is one fixed axis. Since it is a rotational motion, it is always convenient to consider one fixed axis. Even if there is no fixed axis, I had told you it will undergo rotational motion. Now suppose I'll take this point M. Okay, let this be distance R. Okay, I'm just considering one small particle, small point M, just like what I have done in the kinetic energy. Let I apply a force F in this direction. Let I apply this force F in this direction. Okay. Now, very important thing is you are applying force in this direction. So when you are applying force in this direction, this body will rotate about this axis. Same thing if I had applied force in this direction somewhere here, this body could have rotated in this direction. But I don't want that. So just for your convenience, what I'm doing here is I'm applying force in this particular direction, and this force, whatever force I'm applying, this force is responsible for body to rotate. And once the body is rotating, what it is doing? It is undergoing displacement. Which displacement? Angular displacement. So force is there, and this force is displacing this body in the rotational motion. So what is the work done by this torque? That we are going to find it. Okay. Now, when I apply a small force here, when I apply a force on this point, this body undergoes a smaller displacement ds. It undergoes a smaller displacement ds. That way it undergoes ds, and total displacement s. This is a force of very small magnitude, and that force is undergoing responsible for the body to undergo this much displacement ds. Let alpha be the angle between F and S. Let alpha be the angle between F and S. That's what you study, right? F dot S cos theta. So instead of cos theta, I'll write cos alpha. Cos alpha. I can join this point here. Okay. So here I will get an angle theta. I'll write it rather theta. I'll write it as d theta. What is d theta? A small displacement. Which displacement? Angular displacement, because of this force. Because of this force. Okay. And let this distance be r. Okay. Now you know that work done. What is work done? Work done is F dot S cos theta. But this is for linear motion. So here for rotational motion, work done by torque will be what? W equals to, shall I write dW? dW means small amount of work. dW equals to F dot ds cos alpha. I'll write it as cos alpha. Have you understood? So this dW will be what? F cos alpha into ds. I'm just rearranging the terms. Now, you should know what is ds here. See here, students, this is very small displacement. Suppose I have a spherical body and that spherical body is undergoing a smaller displacement ds. I rather considering this as a spherical part, I consider it as a straight line because that small displacement somewhat looks like a this. So what this indicates, if this is theta, or in my case it is d theta, and if this is the radius of the circle. So what ds is, it is the arc length. What is r? Radius. What is d theta? An angle. It is not a plane angle. So plane angle is a ratio of what? An arc length to the radius of the circle. Yes or no? So instead of writing ds, what I'll write here? ds equals to d theta into r. Can I write here? You can copy this somewhere. This is the definition of plane angle. You can apply here. This is a small displacement ds. This is the radius. This angle is theta, which is known as a plane angle. And that plane angle is given by ds by dr. So I want ds. So instead of ds, I'll write d theta by dr. So how will I write here is, so dw equals to f cos alpha. Instead of ds, what should I write? D theta into r. D theta into r. Have you understood? This is from the definition of plane angle. Plane angle. Got it? Now dw equals to, now what is this cos alpha indicating? Cos alpha is the component of this f. Cos alpha is the component of the f. Cos alpha is the component of force F. You can write this somewhere. See here, if this is force, force is in this direction. Force you are applying in this direction. Body is going in this direction. No. When you are applying force in this direction, the body is going in this direction. It is undergoing rotational motion. Are you understand? So what is this F? F is the force and this is the resultant. So can you resolve this? If I make here, this will be F sine alpha and this will be F cos alpha. This component is F cos alpha. Is it not? If I resolve this resultant force, I'll get F sine alpha and F cos alpha. Yes or no? So this F cos alpha is responsible for this rotational motion. What is whatever work is done by the torque. So you observe one thing. This F cos alpha, it is here, no? F cos alpha, is it not perpendicular to this distance r? Can you see here? Can you imagine? Can you magnify the diagram and you will find here ki this F cos alpha is perpendicular to r. Is it not? So instead of writing cos alpha, can I write this component is responsible for rotational motion. So shall I write F, this r, I'll write it as F perpendicular. I'll write F perpendicular r d theta. Can I write that? Are you understanding? What is this cos alpha? It is a component of force F which is perpendicular to r. Component of force F which is perpendicular to r. Or r is perpendicular to F. Meaning remains here. Are you understanding? So what it is giving you? F dot r. Is it not? If I rearrange the terms, can I write r cross F? Don't worry about dot product and cross product. Scalar vectors we will study some other day. Motion in plane topic, you can study it. Okay. Now, if I write r cross F, what it is telling you? R cross F, what it is? Is it not a torque? R into F or F into R. No doubt, you should always write R into F because it's a vector quantity. It is very important to show the direction. Forget the directions for time being. Okay. Just understand the magnitude. Look at the magnitude. R cross F or F cross R. What it will give you? It will give you torque. Yes or no? So dW is giving me torque into d theta. Yes or no? Got it? Now this dw is small amount of work. If I want total work, so what I will do, I will integrate these terms, and once I integrate, dw will give me total work done w, and tau, total force tau, and d theta will give me what? Theta. So what is w? Work done. What is tau? Torque. What is theta? Angular displacement. Angular displacement. Now compare this with your straight line definition. W is equal to force into displacement, and W equals to torque into angular displacement. So this is the work done by the torque. Have you understood? Okay. Is it clear? Nothing complicated here. Don't worry about this angle alpha also, because there is nothing to do with the derivation here. You can understand. Okay. Rest all things are clear. Have you understood? Okay. So we'll stop here. We'll meet in the next class.